Welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm so glad you're here to hear about what level 5 advisory really is all about, and probably what advisory really is all about, because I think there's a lot of chaos and confusion in the marketplace. I've been talking about advisory since early 2000, and I've been implementing it here in the Napa Valley with wineries since 2007, which is hard to believe. And so I'm living it every day, and I've been talking about it and looking for tools and ways for us as accountants to make the profession better and to deliver more value for our clients. And so I'm really passionate about it, and I want you to see what is possible for yourselves. So this is how we see advisory and how we see the toolkit that I'm going to share with you. It's called Level 5. It was created by Mentor Plus, a brilliant woman named Edie Osborne, who's been my mentor since early 2000 when I started talking about it. I discovered the solution, and I couldn't believe that this was out there. And I was frustrated that I hadn't seen it earlier in my own career in accounting. So level 5 is like a GPS to success. The destination is clear. We know where we're headed. We know what the obstacles are. And then we're going to provide the tools and techniques that help you navigate your way to wherever it is you're trying to go and wherever you're trying to take that client. And so this is my background. I'm a current employee of a CPA firm here in Napa Valley, where I advise winery clients on how to improve business results using these tools every day. I don't do any more traditional tax or accounting work by mutual agreement. I don't do any more tax work. And I'm thrilled that I don't have to do that work anymore. And I'm really excited by what I get when I go out to clients now, because they're excited. I can see things happening in their minds. I can see them light up when they understand a concept in a way that they didn't before. I also now, since COVID, own the impactfuladvisor.com. It's a website for advisory training, and I'm excited to have people there who are doing training, who are coming to learn about how to be an advisor. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I'm talking about level 5 advisory. I also co-founded a bookkeeping business in 2014 for wineries because there was huge demand in my marketplace. I do keynotes at conferences around the world and talking about advisory and accounting and making boring stuff interesting. And so what I believe and why I'm doing this and why I've been talking about advisory for all these years is because I really believe that numbers are magic. And I think my purpose in life is to really release that magic so more people can apply it in creating the life of their dreams. And what that means for me is that I need more magicians that are able to do the same thing, because I can't reach all the businesses out there. And that's what we as a profession of numbers people can do. We can change lives for those clients. And so what I'm in search of with what I'm doing with the advisory training is more magicians to join the cause of unlocking the mystery, the magic, and taking away the fear that accompanies numbers. And so what I want to know is, what do you believe, and why are you in this business? Why are you doing accounting, numbers, whatever you want to call it? I think we're all accountants. We're people who count, whether you have an EA designation or whether you do tax work or whether you do bookkeeping or whether you're a CPA. We are all accountants and people who hold clients accountable. So I'd love to hear from you. What it is that you believe, and why are you in the business that you're in? What is it about this profession that has drawn you in? And if you type in the chat for me, I'd really appreciate it. What I found over the years in speaking and working with so many accountants is that most of us became accountants because we wanted to make a difference. In my opinion, much of the work that we do doesn't make that much of a difference. We give people information, but they don't know what to do with it. And so with these tools, you can really help them apply the information and then drive different results. And yes, help shift lives. Thank you for putting that in there, Misty, and uncover the success they were born for. And for those of you who don't know, Misty Mejia is in the house. She's a great influencer in the accounting profession and in life and in the world, and teaching people to be better communicators. And I'm honored to have her with us, as well as all of you who are in attendance right now. It's my pleasure to talk about this stuff. And I hope that you are able to apply the things that you believe to the work that you're doing. So level 5, again, is a toolkit. It's a step-by-step roadmap for how to change the way that we work with our clients. Everybody's been talking about advisory this, and you need to do advisory, and there's all kinds of stuff out there. But most of us are going, okay, how? What does it look like? And how do I make that shift from what I'm doing now, which is typically heavily compliance focused, to doing the work that I know my clients want me to do. And this is how it starts. And the level 5 training is built around this structure, that there's a mindset shift we have to make, a tool set shift that we need to find, and then a leveraging of our existing skill sets in a different way. And that's the challenge. And to me, the hardest thing to shift is the mind, because we have this perception in our own heads that holds us back from taking a leap into a different direction. And what I have, and again, why it works so well for me and why it's so valuable, is you have a repeatable process that you can use with clients. Most of us do one-off random acts of consulting. When a client asks for something we haven't done before, we can do it, but we don't get better at it because we just do it once and then figure out something else for the next client. What I do is apply these skills over and over again with different clients, and it gives me deeper insights each time that I do it. And so the mindset that we have traditionally is, I got to be the smartest person in the room, right? I got to have all these books and all this technical stuff around me. I got to show up and be the answer person. And in fact, what our job is to do is to be the person who asks different questions. Our job is to be curious and to go, huh? When somebody says, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, it's to ask why and how and tell me more about that. And our job is to make them feel smarter, not to prove how smart we are, because these business owners have invested in that business and have dedicated their lives and put their house mortgage on the line in order to fund that business. So they have a lot at stake, and they know more about that particular business than we're ever going to know. But we know how to look at it from a different perspective, and we know how the numbers work that drive whatever results they're trying to achieve. So we ask them first, why are you doing this? And it's a really powerful question to start, because most bookkeepers never ask that. Most accountants never ask that. The tax people don't ask that. But before we start in our firm, we sit down with a client and say, why did you become a winery? And they'll go, to make a profit. And we'll go, no, if you wanted to make a profit, you wouldn't be in this industry. What is it that drew you into this business? What is it about the wine industry in particular? And often their answer has something to do with a connection to the land, or an appreciation of celebrations, or they had a great experience early in their life and they wanted to provide that experience for other people. So you get a very deep emotional story, but it helps you align everything else you do with that client from that point forward. And then the question I want you to ask, and the kinds of questions we teach you to ask in these materials, are things like this. Ask the owner, where do you go to see if your business is on track? If I need to know right now, this second, how you're doing, where are you going to go to get that answer? And many business owners can't do that. They don't have the insights they need to make a decision in the moment. They have to go run some reports, and 3 weeks later, they have information. This is a critical indicator that they need your help to expose those insights so that they can move more quickly than they have probably in the past. So these are the kinds of questions we want you to think about asking. They're questions that we as a profession have not historically asked our clients, and we're missing opportunities to help in a much deeper and more valuable way. And again, here's the vision of ourselves. We got to have a bunch of credentials and letters behind our name in order to be useful to a client. And it is so not true. We doubt our own self-worth. And so we're not the people with the cape who fly in and say, yes, the answer is 42 to whatever question it is that you have, right? It came from a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. The answer magically was 42. And again, we make them feel smarter, and then our value escalates. So this is wrong. We're not people who have to prove how smart we are. We want to show that we are inquisitive, that we listen to those clients, and that we can, in fact, support them in moving the needle forward in the direction of their dreams. And that, to me, is what advisory is all about. What I want to do as an advisor is help my client move the needle forward in the direction of their dreams. And that means I got to know what the dream is, and also be able to dig into what's going on under the financial statements. And so our traditional view is that I'm going to go out and put out all the services that I have, and my client has to pick from that list. That's a service-centric way of approaching the work that we do, a firm-centric, service-centric approach. It's all about me looking in the mirror and talking about me. And the shift we need to make is to put the client at the center. Are you struggling with this? Are you struggling with that? And how can I help you? And that's part of the mindset shift. We really need to figure out what they need and then align with them to help them meet that need. And so that's moving the client forward. If we don't know what the need is, we can't get them there. And when we start looking at things from this perspective, it takes us out of this accuracy focus and moves us into relevance focus, which is where all of the value lies. That's where the value service exists for those clients. It takes the pricing conversation off the table when you start asking these questions in that initial prospect meeting differently. And the methodology that I use is level 5, and it starts out where we are now in our technical orientation and builds on that through successive training modules. It's not a prescriptive deliver this first and then do that first and do that. Rather, it's a way to organize the material so that you can build concepts on top of concepts and get fully all the way through to continuous improvement with your client. And Mentor Plus is a company that created it. I acquired the rights to that training during COVID. And then I created a brand, The Impactful Advisor, to add coaching and support and other tools on top of the online training that you can access and use. And so I offer group training around the materials to add ongoing insights to keep it fresh and to share my own experiences from working with my winery clients. And so as we do this, as we make this leap from this commodity focus, competing over price, to value, where we're actually changing lives, we not only help the client move the needle forward in the direction of their dreams, but we move your needle forward in the direction of your dreams. If you look at what's going on in our profession right now, there is a tremendous amount of unhappiness, of overwhelm, of, I think, depression going on because we're working so hard. Our clients don't appreciate what we're doing, and we're not able to make the kind of impact we'd like because we're working on a lot of clients and not getting the revenue that we deserve. We're not getting the reward from that because people don't know what we do. And so there's a lot of angst right now, and this is what it takes, a shift. And whether you take my training or not, it's a shift in the way you perceive your own value and the way you communicate with those clients so that you can show them that you're different. And so this is one of my favorite pictures, not just because it has a basset hound in it, which you obviously can tell is something that I'm excited by, but it's because of the footprints. Imagine what is possible if you make an impact and leave footprints in the sand. And I want you to think about what could lie ahead if you could make a shift, even in a small way, if you could start making a shift and work with fewer clients in a deeper way for each one of those clients. It would change the nature of everything that we do. And again, enable you to have more time for your own lives and to, again, feel like you're contributing to their success. So what are the tools that we're talking about as part of this training? This is what's so different about this toolkit. These tools were released in the late 97, I think. In 1997, I think Edie first came out. She actually delivered these tools first through the AICPA. They had a program called Performance Views. She built the training, and then she rolled it out in live 3-day classes for almost 20 years, until 2018, when she decided to take it online. And then I helped her convert the training that I'd been through myself and millions of other folks, not millions, but hundreds, I don't know what the number is, hundreds of thousands of people, including the US and Canada and multiple places, have gone through the training live. And I helped her turn those tools into this online program. So it has all the tools that she's vetted in over 20 years of training accountants. So she knows what the barriers are to doing this. She knows the questions that accountants have. She knows how hard it is to sell for accountants. And so she created a checklist, a guide, a document, tutorials that cover all those challenges that she had to address in live sessions with the accountants. So it's got almost everything that you need to understand how to make this shift. And then what I'm adding to it now is online coaching options in deep levels of commitment. And then also I have a monthly webinar option that you can just show up for one webinar a month if you just want some minimal kinds of hand-holding. But then I offer more committed time with me over a 6-month period. So we'll talk about that as we go forward. But here's what's in the toolkit. First level, technical foundation. Start where that client is. Start where you're comfortable, from financial statements, from the tax returns, from a test, if you're doing that, from whatever level of bookkeeping work you're doing. There is a ton more value we can add at that level. And there's some tools for you to download. There are documents, there are PowerPoints. There's educational material you can use to train and educate your clients about what financial statements are and what these number things really mean. And so you start there and then you move to level 2 when you get training. And this is about interactive dialogue with clients. It's about educational materials that you can share. She gives you all kinds of interesting ways to explain things like accrual versus cash. I've taken these materials and over the 20 years that I've been speaking, have pulled out different concepts from it, reworked it in a way that includes Basset House most of the time, and then used it to connect from keynote stages and from training classes. So the materials, the core of these things are extremely powerful for you, and you can use them to market yourself. You can use them for teaching, and then you can implement them with clients as well. And then in level 3, it's about discovering what's really going on across that business, not just the financial problem, but what's happening in the customers with operations people and everything else that's happening in the business. And then we turn what we uncover into an action plan as part of what we do in level 3B. There's a ton of documents, tools, training, videos where she gives you theoretical information, and then she gives you the how to do it stuff along with that. And then at level 4, we take what we've uncovered and the plan that we built, and then we bring it to life by connecting the goals that we have to individual actions and behaviors across the team. And this is when you do facilitation, you work with group sessions, and you bring everybody together to understand the financial concepts and then show them how they change what they're doing to derive different outcomes for the business. And then level 5 is about doing it consistently with that client, checking back in, evolving the metrics and measures that you create and share with them, ongoing training of the team, and just keeping the cycle flowing so that you can have a long-term impact on that business. So the materials, and I just want to give you an overview of what's included in each of these levels. There's a welcome module, there's some intro materials, and then there's level 1. And in those materials, she covers, why we're doing this. She talks about your own why and how you use it in client consulting work. We talk about how the materials are going to work and how advisory needs to flow, what advisory is, and then how she can support you. And then there's a bunch of tools that you can download and keep and have forever. The videos inside the training are accessible while you're in an active subscription. That's the only thing you can't download. And then she's got a document and a tool and a PowerPoint and whatever you need. And then attached to each of those is a video tutorial telling you what to do with that tool. Here's an example from one of the tools, and much of the value is from the questions that she gives you. I mean, it's silly to think about. And it's a question like this. If you're looking at somebody's chart of accounts, we normally look at it because we want it to be organized in a way that makes it easy for us to get what we need. Or we want the chart of accounts to support GAAP financial statement reporting. But what about this question? Are you getting what you need to run the company from your financial statements or from your chart? Is what you're getting relevant, accurate, and readily available? Ask an owner that. Do you have what you need? Can you tell me right now how you're doing? The answer is probably no. And probably where they're going to look is not in their QuickBooks or their accounting software. They're looking at some other system or their bank account or something else. And we're spending all this time over here on a financial statement that they're not even looking at. And so ask these kinds of questions. And if they say, yes, we're getting what we need, then take a look at it and see if that report they're looking at is shared with other people in the organization, and if it presents actionable data so that people can change behaviors to improve those results. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing in this level 5 program. And let me ask you just this question. How many times have you had to export a financial statement out of the accounting software and then rework it for the owner? I've had to do that a million times. And there are tools today that make that much easier, but that's an indicator that the thing we're doing is spending all of our time getting right doesn't have that much value for that client. And so where we need to be is wherever they want us to be. If they want me to create a dashboard and that's it, that's where I need to be focused. I want to make sure I present information in a way that resonates for that client. So then at level 2, we have financial fluency training, which is a whole deck of material that you can use to educate that client about what financial statements are and how numbers work and all of that. There are 2 different presentations that you can take, work with, prepackage, present, use for marketing purposes or for training. There's a profit equation concept, which changes the way we think about businesses. There's a spreadsheet that goes along with that helps you bring numbers to life for the line workers in those client organizations. There's tools about how to get data, and then there's a whole list of potential metrics and measures related to different financial concepts. There's a tool that I created that I share in the training where I use a tree analogy to explain what financial statements are. I have it uploaded on a site, and I have over 100,000 people that have downloaded this silly little thing based on a tree. But those are the kind of things that I'm sharing with you. I'm adding other stuff on top of the online training in my cohorts. We talk about how to use Fathom's Goal Seek screen just to sell your services and set yourself apart from other clients, other accountants who are not taking the time to educate their clients about financial concepts. This is showing a client the levers they can push to improve a metric like cash flow, which they probably don't understand. This is what we do in our firm. This is a profit equation planner tool that I created based on the materials in the training. Edie provides templates for how to do something like this, and I just modified it for what I know is important in the wine industry. So I created a what if interactive spreadsheet that I share with frontline salespeople in tasting rooms. And when I go through this exercise, I add different assumptions in here. I ask them, what do you want to do? What can you impact? I put a number in here. And if it's something that impacts revenue, the revenue number pops up here. The people in the tasting room then go, wow, you mean if I sell one more bottle a day, it'll have that much of a revenue impact? I could do that. And then I say, okay, what ideas do you have to make that happen? And the ideas just flow. So it takes us breaking down a high level financial goal of improved cash flow and looking at the things that line workers can impact, and then showing them a model like that, and then letting them design the plans and strategies for helping us achieve that financial outcome. And this stuff, I mean, they get so excited. I mean, this is a nerdy little spreadsheet that I made up. It's all kind of ugly, but I've shown them for the first time that they can impact the revenue that's coming through that organization. Normally, I just say sell $1 million more revenue and not give them the tools to do anything about it. So this is empowering for teams. It's rewarding for us as an advisor, and company executives can't believe the power of a tool like this when we show it in front of their teams. We get to level 3, it's about really uncovering the root problems of the company, the goals and objectives, and then taking what we discover and turning it into an actionable plan for the teams and the leaders of that organization. And this is just some examples of some of the different kinds of ways that we dissect what's going on in the business. This is one of my favorite tools. It's called a scope assessment document. You can create one on a napkin if you want to. One of my most recent training attendees took this concept to her first client meeting. She just started her own company. She got this grid. She went to her first client meeting, and this is how she started the meeting with a potential client of bookkeeping services. And she walked away with a $7,500 engagement to help that client achieve their business objective just by starting the conversation with this discussion. I need to understand first why you're in this business. That's this bottom corner on the ideal outcome of end in mind. Why are you doing this? What do you want? Are you trying to grow the company? Are you trying to grow to sell it? Are you trying to take it public? Are you trying to build a legacy? Do you just have a lifestyle business? What is it you're trying to end up with? And why is it that you exist? So we start with that question, and the owner's like, wow, nobody's asked me that before. You're interested. You're different from those other people that I've talked to. And then we look at the ideal outcome across all of these areas: financial, customer, operations, people, and end in mind. And then we also have them document and share with us the strengths. What have they done right during COVID? What have they done right this far in their history? And let's capture that and celebrate it. And then let's think about what's not working. And normally this is where we can make a huge list, right? We know everything that's broken, but we haven't thought about all the great stuff that we were able to do in spite of what's going on around us. So let's capture that. And as the accountant coming in, let's interview them, record it for them, take notes in the meeting. This gives us a structured agenda we can walk that client through. And by the time this is filled out, we know a lot about that client. So then we transcribe, or we take notes in the meeting. We take this, we send a completed document back to the client and say, enjoyed our conversation. Here's what I heard you say. I'd like to get in there and help you achieve some of these objectives. Let's decide what your priority is. I'll set up a proposal based on that, and then we'll move forward from there. This changes the game from a pricing discussion point and from a value perception perspective. So start with this. You don't take any more training. do something like this with a client and see the impact you're able to have on that discussion, and see how easy it is to sign up that client, because you're going to stand out from everybody else. This is an example of a completed one we do for our fake winery that I use for training. I mean, the end in mind for the winery is I want to hand this thing over to the kids. I need to build a legacy, which means I need to structure things differently. I need to get kids involved in the business. And the why for this winery is that they want to treat every visitor that comes to visit the winery like family. They want to treat them like, with care. They want to make them feel welcome and like they're a member of the family. That influences every single decision I should be making in that winery. If I want to have a high-end experience where you feel welcome, then I need to hire great staff. I don't want the cheapest labor that I can get. I need to retain my staff. I need to educate them about what true hospitality looks like. My operational systems need to be different, right? If I'm going to make you feel like family, what kind of experience do I want you to have when you go to buy my wine? Do you want me to be a clunky, takes an hour, I need to copy stuff on one of those old-fashioned machines, I want to write your stuff down on paper with a pencil? I want your buying experience to be seamless. What kind of customers do I want to attract? Am I looking to go broad and cover the globe, or do I want people in my local market to be my target? Those are the things we want to define with that client. And this is where we support them in all the systems that we bring in, and all the accounting that we design, and all the reporting that we set up for them. If these are things they care about, then we need to support them in monitoring and measuring and driving results in each of these areas. We can't just do the broken thing under the financial column and really provide the kind of service that our clients need. We get to level 4, there are a ton of different ways to help figure out what metrics we need to have in place. And this is where we engage not just owners in designing top-level metrics that we then use as punishment, but bringing all the teams together to figure out what things we're trying to accomplish, what we're currently doing, what we might do better, and then what we can count along the way to indicate that we're making progress. This is when we get to leading and lagging indicators, and we talk about all kinds of things that go way beyond financial ratios and measures, which is where most accountants stop. We look for activity input measures that actually influence the outcome we can achieve in those financial metrics. And so it's a shift in the way we count things, and it's a shift in who we involve in the counting and the creation of those measurements. And this is how you make long-term and lasting change for a company. It's really fun to get in here, start digging in to what they're doing, to get their processes mapped. This is one of the services we teach you how to do. I'm using Lucidchart here. Early on in my career in the wine industry, I was instructing them. I was teaching classes to a member association of wineries that had 500 wineries in it. And I was new to the wine industry, redneck from South Carolina originally, show up in wine country, Napa Valley, drinking Franzia in a box. And I'm meeting with all these people that sell high-end cab I can't even afford. And I'm going, I don't even know what I'm dealing with here, what these people do and how it works and all of that. And one of my first classes I taught was called Understanding Winery Transactions. And I had a room full of people come in and describe to me how these processes flowed. And I did sticky notes on the wall. And then when they left the class, I said, okay, I'm going to transcribe this and share it with you and let you see how screwed up your processes are around your flow. And that was the class. But I got the dialogue happening. I got the discussion happening. I documented what they were wrestling with and trying to get sales recorded through the system. And you can see the poor accountants down here trying to get stuff out of these people who were going through all these hoops to get sales to happen in the organization. But the process mapping project is tremendous value for clients. I don't have to have the answers to any of this. I just have the skill of listening and documenting and organizing what they're sharing with me in a way that they can really clearly see how screwed up some of the stuff is. And then now I look like an expert on what's going on in the industry. I can say, well, here's what a lot of people are doing. Here's my expertise in the mapping of this process. So those are the kind of things that we learn. And we also teach you how to do consensus workshops, how you conduct those, using sticky notes to get everybody heard, all kinds of things like that, that are where you end up going when you start trying to help companies improve what they're doing. Because you can't drive different results without connecting with the people doing the work. And that's a leap for us as accountants. Most of us are used to working with either the accountant and only or the owner, and not getting down into what's really happening to drive the financial measures that we see on the financial statements. When we get to level 5, it's about working this continuous loop, about looking at what people and processes are in place in the company, and then what kind of insights we can gain that help people do those processes or apply those processes in a more consistent and effective way. So at level 5, we just want to make sure we're checking in, we're evaluating the metrics that we put in place, and making sure that they're still relevant and useful for that client. So all of those tools, there's a ton of stuff. Again, more than 100 tools. You can take the training online at your own pace. I'm offering a bunch of different programs, one of which is a do-it-yourself. You subscribe for a year and you have full access to the tools. You can download all the tools. You can watch the videos. You can do it on your own pace. But if you will take one tool out and try it with a client, it can cover the cost of the training in one client meeting. You will recoup it. And in fact, this client, this person took this online version of the materials, took this one tool out, and her first gig in starting her business paid for it 7 times over. So it's that kind of an investment. It's worth it. It's scary to do something new. We're all busy, but do you want to keep being busy doing the stuff that you don't want to do? Or do you want to move into things that you know make a difference for clients and for yourself? So the skill set that we teach, it really starts, and this seems so simple, but asking different and better questions is what we teach you. And every document that we have in these materials has all kinds of questions that you can think about. Any one of them can change the dialogue that you have with your client and can position you as an advisor, not a transaction-focused person. And we teach you how to listen better, more deeply, how to understand different types of questions, how to make that client feel like an expert, how to connect with the teams and connect the financial goals down to the activity level. And that's a huge, I think, eye-opening way to look at the work that we do. How to facilitate meetings. I do in the group sessions that I conduct a DISC communication assessment for you to understand your communication style and how you might need to modify it to communicate more clearly and effectively with other people that you work with, like owners, for example, who tend to communicate very differently than we accountants would like to communicate. We talk about things like how to charge, how to bill, how to market, how to sell and position yourself differently so that you can find the kind of clients that you want. And the really cool thing about this is that we give you a process that you can rely on, and it's proven. It's been tested. I'm using it, 15 years of using it. And all these people around North America have been using it, including 200 people at one big firm. Have been trained in these tools, and they've been modified over the years so that we know they're effective, and so that we've given you everything you can possibly think of that you might need to deliver advisory service. And so that's the difference. There are tons of different advisory training options out there. You don't have to do it with me. If mine isn't right for you and doesn't call you, please go find something that helps you find your way to whatever it is you really want to be doing with your clients. I know LivePlan offers some things around their tool. Fathom has some advisory materials that I've helped them. I've got a bunch of advisory materials on their site that I've helped to work with. I have some advisory training that's done through QuickBooks, and Intuit offers some of my training. There's some pieces of that you can get, but this has it all together in a comprehensive online way that you can access at your own pace or as part of a group session. So the message I have for you is, if you've just got a little curiosity and some tools you can rely on, then both you and your clients can go to new heights. And these are some of the comments I've gotten from people that take the training at the end. There's a certification exam you can take, and then you get a logo you can put on your business card, and it makes you a level 5 certified advisor. And so at the completion of those exams, I got feedback about what is your takeaway. And a big takeaway is ask questions and be curious. And the confidence, the permission that it gives you to say, I don't need to come in and know everything. I can just ask different questions. That's the big part of it. The confidence to know that I don't have to be the expert on their business in order to be an expert accountant, which is what you are. And it gives you a framework. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I had some trainees. I had one woman who was running a tax-focused accounting firm, totally came out of the training and said, I'm not doing tax anymore. I'm going 100% advisory. I've had a lot of people like that. This is what makes me happy, to find people transitioning from whatever they were doing that they didn't want to do into whatever it is they want to be doing now as a result of the training, that we open up opportunities for people who were seeking something that gave them more pleasure in their everyday lives. And to me, that's why I call my company the Impactful Advisor. I want to impact lives of the accounting profession, and through you, I want to impact the lives of our clients. So here's what I have to offer. My group cohort, I have one starting next week on Valentine's Day by design, because I love this stuff and I want you to love it too. And it features live coaching with me. We meet every other week for 6 months, and we're going to go as a group through the level 3 materials. I want this to be a easier to consume training session, because I don't want you to have to commit every week, and I don't want to go too far for you. I want you to get in there through level 3 and get you going with smaller businesses. Some of the level 4 materials are deeper and are easier to use with a little bit larger clients. If you get all the way through level 3 and use those tools, you will change your life and client lives. You will have an impact that you can't even imagine. You also get access. So the coaching with me is every other week for 6 months. Then you also have a year's worth of access to the online training materials, and then access to monthly webinars that I do for that 6 months, where I take one tool out of the training and go deep on it and talk about how you use it, give you examples for my own consulting, and then talk about how you can take material in that item and use it for marketing, and then how to package it as a service that you can deliver. So that's a little bit of a different perspective on top of what you'll get from the group cohorts, where I go through the materials that I assign to you to cover for each session. So I help guide you through the materials in a structured way. You get more than 100 tools, including downloadable documents and a bunch of videos. And then I add for this one a DISC assessment and debrief, a meeting where I give you an assessment, you find out what your behavioral style is, and then I teach you how to use that knowledge in working with clients. And so I'll talk about what your assessment means and where to look on that report. For this class, the total price is $6,000. I've separated it into 5 installments of $1,200 a piece to make it more affordable. It's on my website. You can sign up. There's the site. The next cohort this year, I'm only offering 2 cohorts. This one, which is designed again for people who are not doing tax, who don't have as much of a tax season burden. And then I'm doing a second one in the summer, and that is going to be a full commitment of 24 weekly meetings, and it is a $10,000 investment. And so I'm looking for that one, and that one is more comprehensive. We go all the way through 5 levels, and it's a weekly commitment. So I think that's a harder commitment for many people to make. And I think this one is designed for people who can't do every week, and gives you more flexibility in the scheduling, more time to review the materials. You still have access to me for the coaching, and then you get through to level 3 with me, and then you can do level 4 on your own and continue to go with the materials for a full year. Once you have completed the cohort training, you can renew the online access to materials at a very affordable price. So that's the one offering. If that is too much of a commitment, you can also get the do-it-yourself materials. Again, download all the tools, never listen to any video, use those tools, change your life. And that is an $1,800 total investment, set up to be paid over 3 installments of $600 a piece. If you kind of want the halfway hybrid model, then you can get the do-it-yourself license for a year, plus an invitation to the monthly webinar, where I do that drill into a single tool. You spend an hour a month with me. I share some perspective again from my own consulting experience, and talk about how to market yourself using the tool, and then how to package it in a service delivery model. Yeah, so that's right, Misty. I'm doing 6 months of support, which is why I decided to only do 2 of them this year. Last year, I had 7 of these going on, and I was in cohort training classes all the time. And I want people in these classes to be confident in their ability to recoup their investment, because I know you can get it in 1 or 2 tools. You can recoup your entire investment. The $6,000. I had one person who was going to bill, a person who came to me who said, I'm going to start my own practice. I'm going to bill $65 an hour to start, because that's what I was making in my job. And I went, that is not how you decide the price. I want you to use this scope grid for your first client meeting. I want you to ask different questions, and I want you to set your fee at a minimum of $1,000. Whatever you do, don't charge less than $1,000. I don't care what it is. And you figure out how you're going to deliver whatever you want to do, or set your bar at some fixed amount. $1,000 might be too high for where you're starting, but don't you dare say, I'm going to charge you $65 an hour and take minimum fee for work that you could be billing way more than that. You could do fixed price, bookkeeping monthly, $500 a month, including some of these services and asking these different questions. You don't have to argue or do anything about price. When you start asking those different questions in that first meeting, the client starts to really want to work with you. And so the pricing objection goes away. I also only do initial engagements. If I'm going to do fixed price bookkeeping, which I used to do in my company that I closed last year, I would do a needs analysis, which is where I come up with the proposal, and I charge for that. And those are the kinds of things that immediately shift your revenue stream and will more than cover this investment in the program. So that's what I want you to think about. If price is a problem, if that's your only barrier to entry, then I want you to email me and we'll work something out. I don't want price to be what holds you back. I'm also working with vendors to try to fund scholarships. So let me know, please reach out. I'm here to help. I want you to do this. I want you to be happy in the work that you're doing. And I want your clients to have your help because they need you right now like they never have before. Most of all, I want you to believe that you are magic, because I do. The work we do is so important and valuable. We're keeping the wheels on the economic engine. We're keeping the wheels on the bus that power the economy of the world. We are magic. We want our clients to know that. And you can make them aware of it by communicating this information in a way that they can grasp it. And that's what these tools really help you do. With that, I want to thank you for your time and attention. And again, if money is the barrier, if the payment schedule needs to be modified, if there's something I can do to make it work for you, please reach out. This is the book that Edie wrote on advisory. It's called Firm Forward. Again, the creator of the toolkit that I'm repping and coaching people through these days. It's an honor for me to be here with you and to have access to this kind of information. And I would love for you to share now what stood out for you. And if you have any questions, I'd love to see them in the chat. Oh, thank you for the comments in the chat. I so appreciate it. And thank you, Brandy, for being here. Any questions I can ask her? Would you type in what stood out from what I shared? Just type it in the chat, or share if you want to do it audibly. Brandy, if you want to come back on screen and talk to me, where are you located, Brandy? All right. Not here and there's Misty. Hello.
Ah,
Hi.
I know you and I were talking before because I showed up like a nerd early. Uh, to me, Jeannie, the fact that you are taking the years of knowledge you have in actually doing this type of work where we're trying to shift the entire profession to step into that advisory mode. Mostly a lot of automation and all those things are making it a little bit tighter for people. So when you think about shifting from the lovely, like task oriented pieces of the profession to advisory, what do you feel is the sense of urgency to make that shift?
Well, first of all, accountants are not happy because we're overburdened. There's more work than we can take. We just got word that 300,000 people left the numbers profession, accounting and bookkeeping, during the last 2 years, which is a huge drop. So the demand is big. The understanding of what we do is not there. The demand is big. There's an opportunity for us to charge more, but we have to deliver better value to our clients in order to do that. And so, and the compliance stuff, we're automating more and more of the components of traditional compliance work, which we all know, we've heard this forever, right? They're going to automate your work away. So the commodity low value stuff is being taken over by the bots and the AI. And what's left is, what does it mean? And that's where we are uniquely positioned to answer those questions. But traditional training that we accountants got, that I got, that bookkeeping training that we all get, is all about debiting this and crediting that. And if you ask me if it's in balance, I can say yes. But if you ask me what does it mean, I can say you're in trouble and I don't know what to do about it. Bye. That was the traditional approach. That's what I did. I mean, I was a tax partner in a CPA firm. And I could tell you how much tax you owed, and I could tell you that you didn't have any cash. But if you said, well, what can I do about it? I would go, I don't know, but I'll count it again for you next year. And so when I found these tools after leaving that firm as a partner to go to try to fix the profession through technology, I realized that there's a tool, there's a process I can follow. And if I had a process that I could have used with my clients, it would have changed everything for me, for the firm, and for those clients. And so then I found it and went on the circuit to tell everybody else about what's possible. But the time is now, and our clients are hurting. I mean, we're seeing budget cuts, we're seeing layoffs, we're seeing all kinds of changes in corporate America. They're going to be shopping for price for traditional bookkeepers, which means those of us who are trying to do something different are going to have to teach them that we are different. When you say you're a bookkeeper, or when you say you're a CPA, they think tax. When you say bookkeeper, they think balance my checkbook.
Yep.
And so this is how we position ourselves as partners in their business success. And that's where the value comes in. And that's where the work satisfaction, which to me is the thing that I was after, really happens.
Yeah.
And the time is now. When people start talking recession, that's when you have to stand out and be different from everybody else.
Yeah.
And really listening to what they're trying to do.
I agree. And Janelle and I were chatting back and forth in chat. And I love, from the very first business I had, because you know me, I've been in and out of the corporate life, and the first business that we had, our accountant was doing our payroll and our taxes, and that's it. And if I didn't know to tell him certain things, and he didn't ask, and so he would have asked how we were getting all of these receipts from our POS into QuickBooks, he would have found that we were staying there till 3 a.m, entering manually things because our point of sale system did not connect. And there was all these things, like our inventory management needed massive help, but we didn't know anybody that could have solved that. And so to me, when I think about now being in the accounting profession for so long and meeting humans like you, the impact that that would have had on our lives to get our time back and to not cancel on every single family event because we were too busy running the business, it would have been life-changing. It really would have. So,
and that's the opportunity. And that's when, I mean, I have people who go through training and tell me, I did this one tool with somebody, and I had another person who just finished the training, again, went out with a new client prospect after completing the training, went to the client with a scope grid. And she said, and she would have normally done like I'm going to get your stuff, I'm going to spend a bunch of hours and figure out what your work is, and then I'm going to come up with a monthly fee. And instead I said, don't do that. Go out, ask the questions, and say, I start with the needs analysis. I charge $1,000 for that. I'll go through and look at your stuff, make recommendations, and then I'll set from that a monthly fee. She went out to the client, did the scope grid, and came out of the meeting with $1,000 check in her hand. I mean, that's the power of this stuff. And we're giving our services away and we're killing ourselves. And we pick up the phone and go, oh no, that awful client's calling me again. And we're doing that low value work that we don't want to do and draining ourselves. And we don't have to. There's a better way. And these tools can help you get there.
100%. And I would have absolutely paid if somebody would have said, hey, we can fix this all so you can leave like when your store closes at 9 o'clock. I would be like, what can I pay you? What can I pay you? I'm in.
When I was doing tax work, and this is why I want to go back to this scope grid. When I was doing tax work, I didn't ask you any questions about what it took to get the stuff into the financial statement. That was all I looked at. You brought me your financial statement. I put it into the tax form and you got your thing back. I never asked you, how hard is it to get stuff into this financial statement? What's going on under that? And that's where all this angst is happening. Let me share my screen.
You're sharing it. I can see it.
Yeah. all the angst is happening over here where we're not even looking, and we don't even ask you, what kind of systems are you using for your inventory management? What kind of systems are you using for payment? How are you getting paid? How are you paying your bills? Traditional accountants aren't doing that. It's one of the reasons, if you're CPA, you're just up here in this what's broken financially box. It's the only thing you're looking at, and you're very micro focused on that. And you're going to jump into a spreadsheet and try to tell them what they got to do to fix that thing, which means they're not going to fix any of the other things that are making that bad. But when we're in the bookkeeping mode, we're seeing a lot of these things. And I think the bookkeeping community is far more proactive about saying, well, what about bill.com? And what about this and that? And the bookkeepers are the ones who are embracing these tools and going out in a big way and having a huge impact for clients. And so one of the things that I'm seeing, and I think the bookkeeping community is taking away a lot of the relevance of the CPA community and making them look bad, because they're really doing this. And because they're connected more closely to the pain that client is suffering.
Exactly, because they have a lot more day-to-day interaction with the company, or at least weekly
In there, they're
interaction.
looking at the bank balance and seeing it go down, or seeing sales drop, or seeing costs go up, or whatever's happening, and they're trying to figure out how to fix it. And so there's the opportunity for the profession and for anybody who's looking to change the nature of their practice and change the impact they're able to have for their clients.
And
So
I love the fact that you're doing a group cohort, because I know for me, like I'm doing another training right now, but the group component of that, people ask questions that I wouldn't even thought of.
yeah,
And it just helps me gather even more information, because I ask certain questions that they haven't thought of, and they ask certain questions I haven't thought of. So you just like leave going, haha, I know this from all angles. So I'm excited that I didn't know 6 months, but 6 months is a long time, Miss Jeannie.
I know, that's why I want to do too, because I had all these things. It was crazy last year. I had so many going on, and I went that I need to have two, and I need to have focus groups, and I need to make it easy for people who were going after smaller clients to get in here, get what they need, and not have to commit every single week to that. So I transitioned into this different offering, specifically for the bookkeeping community, people who were not doing tax work, who could come in now and get a leg up on those other folks who don't have time to pay attention right now. So that's the plan. So with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and attention. Any questions, reach out. There's my email, Geni@evenanerd.com. Find whatever it is that you're looking for. Go out there. There are lots of ways to improve your workday if that's something you're working on. There are lots of ways to make an impact for a client. And if I can help you in any way, just let me know. With that, we'll stop, and thanks a lot.